Sheep, sheep. Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be back here talking about wool and knitting and sheep again. So this is Heather from Pine Mill Fiber and Farm, and it's been a while since I've shared what I've been knitting, what I've been spinning, what I've been working on. And it just feels so good because the gardens are kind of starting to wind down. I feel like, at least in my mind, I'm like, okay, the busyness of summer, like there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to have time to get into my stash, and I've already started doing a lot of that. So one thing I finished, and it's so exciting, I love it, is this sweater, and I'll show you it. It's from the unspun Icelandic yarn. Oh, I forgot what it's called here. It's from this Lane magazine, the pattern, issue 6. And the sweater is called, you think I would have wrote all this stuff down before, but no. Let's see, the sweater is called Selenite by Annie Roden. And I did alter it a little bit. The pattern calls for it to kind of like crisscross across itself like this, and I wanted it to be more like, it is a very loosely fitting, like over like a layering piece, and it is I have a little bit of, like, if I made this pattern again, I would tighten up the shoulders probably, just because I think wearing it would be like a little bit more practical. And then I wanted buttons to hold it shut, so I put 4 buttons. And you can see the colors. I kind of tried to gradient it. I had bought this yarn to make a shawl when I was in Iceland a couple years ago, and I had a ton of it left, and in my mind all along I'm like, I am going to make a sweater with the leftovers, but I was just waiting to find that perfect pattern that I thought would go good with the yarn and be very nice and usable. So I'm super pleased with the results. There's a couple things that I love about this and a couple things I don't love as much. I love this lace detail. If you can see that, it's absolutely beautiful, and it is also on the sides. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous lace detail. You go back and forth on the body, but then like the sleeves, you're knitting all the way around, and then you turn it inside out and it's pearl. So I do like that. It does, like, I guess it doesn't make much of a difference on the body, but on the sleeves it's really nice. And I suppose you could wear it opposite, but you wouldn't want to. The reason my brain is so fuzzy on this is because when I was trying to clean my yarn stash up the other day, probably like a week or 2 ago, I found this sweater in my stash that I had started eons ago, but there were no sleeves on it. And I was like, yes, a project that's almost finished that I love, that fits me, and it's not going to take a lot of brain space to finish, so I just right away picked up the sleeves and started getting those done. And I'm so thankful I got it done and that I have a wearable garment. Because if you watch any of my previous episodes on my knitting forays, you'll know that I actually really struggle to make garments like that actually fit me, that I actually like. I've torn out most of them. I feel like I'm a pretty baby knitter, but I have a hard time implementing new concepts in my knitting, just because of the amount of free time that I have during the day, where my brain is like able to really focus on something, is pretty limited right now in this season of life with so many kids, and just the schedule of the day is just pretty crazy. So when I knit to relax, and so trying to pick up a new concept while I'm knitting is like, right now it's just very rare. It's like I want to just relax, I want to decompress, I want to maybe knit while I'm reading with the kids or doing homeschool. So I've been trying to just stick with patterns that are very basic, very attainable for me. And that is, I think, helping me to be more successful in my knitting. So that's super exciting. Okay, so that is one finished object. I have one other finished object, which is this. It's one sock. I have the other sock, and the other sock is finished, and I have worn these a lot. I just don't know where the other one is already. That is a struggle I have with socks. So don't mind the banging that you hear in the background. My hubby and my son are building us a deck right now, and they're working hard to get that done. So I just wanted to shoot this anyways. Anyways, back to the sock struggle. I typically do not do any laundry in our house. The kids do all the laundry. They take turns. The kids have monthly jobs. The kids do 2 jobs a day. They are home a lot of the day. So if you homeschool, this is just kind of a side tangent. If you homeschool, your kids are home all day and they are making messes all day. So it is really like impossible, at least for me to take care of the entire house by myself. Not only is it impossible, I don't think it's fruitful for the kids to not have to learn how to do things. So the kids do all the laundry. And because of that, I usually cannot find matching socks. It's like, I think having them help is amazing, but you have to like lower your expectations. Otherwise you will drive yourself crazy. So I have lowered my expectations to the point of not having matched socks. Oh, I don't know if anyone else can relate to that big family struggle. But anyways, I'm hoping this sock will turn up and I will be wearing it again. So back to the sock. This is a very vanilla sock recipe that I've kind of just developed over the years. The first sock that I made, I used a free pattern on Pearl Soho, and it was a kid sock. And after making enough of those, I kind of began to see the pattern of how socks are created. It's the short row heel sock, so top down. I began to see the pattern of how they're created as far as like the ratio of heel stitches to the rib stitches to the short rows. And it started to become very easy for me, after knitting enough socks from their pattern, to just create my own pattern. Anytime I need to make a sock, I just cast on the amount of stitches that will fit the person, and then I just continue knitting from there. So it did take me time to get to that point, and I don't work off a pattern or anything, but there are so many free, really great patterns, including the Pearl Soho one. It just doesn't have an adult version that I know of. So I did this in the half twisted rib, and I love the half twisted rib. It is one of my favorite stitches. Let's see if you can kind of see how, I know these socks are really worn already, and I love how they're holding up. My only complaint with this sock is, I think it was knit on a size 2 or a size 1 magic loop needle. My only complaint is that I like my socks to be knit a lot tighter gauge. I am a very, very loose knitter, so I need to invest in a like size 0 magic loop needle for my socks, because they're pretty open, and I think it's probably going to affect how long these things last. Even though they are holding up really well, I did do for my heel, I usually do like a knit stitch, slip with the purl with the yarn in front, knit stitch. I don't know if you can really see, the camera isn't really wanting to pick that up. But then I do that down along this point too, and that does make this hold up longer. Sometimes I will do that on the toe, and I didn't this time. I opted to just keep it like that. So, the next pair of socks I make, well, not the next, because I do have a pair on the needles right now, I am going to invest in a smaller needle and see if I can get the gauge with sock yarn that I really like to wear. It's not so much the knitting, because I don't necessarily like to knit with the size 0 needle. I find it pretty cumbersome, and I find it not as relaxing, but the finished product I think will be worth the work. So for now I have one sock until the other sock is unearthed, and it fits really well. It's a short sock, as you can see, and it's super comfortable, super soft. This yarn, I believe I got it on yarns.com, and I like their website when I want something commercial, especially for sock yarn, because I just literally go on their website and I click clearance and I find something that I like that's like dirt cheap. And that works really well, especially when I'm knitting for the kids. If I don't want to use an expensive yarn, or I don't want to use a yarn that maybe I know they'll wear through it really fast, so I don't want to use hand spun, I'll do that. And it's a really great source for good yarn that's not, you know, it's good yarn, but it's a reasonable price. So that's just my little tip that I like to use. Okay, so where else? I feel like I'm already rambling. My other project that I'm working on, I have a couple that I'm working on. I guess I'll show you the knitting first, because it's pretty much identical to what I just showed you. I'm making another pair of basically the same exact sock, just smaller, for my daughter. So sometimes I like to do that, even though it is extremely boring. Is just, okay, I know I have enough yarn to make another, so right away before the yarn goes into my stash, never to be seen or heard from again, I will just cast on another sock and do like a gift, use it for a gift or for one of the kids, something that I know is going to be like practical and it's going to get a lot of use. So that, and I am kind of bored of this. I do really want to cast on a new project, but I am trying to force myself to finish these before. I don't know. We'll see. I will probably cast on something else soon. But I've also, part of the reason I hesitate to cast on another project is because I have been loving spinning, and I don't have a lot of time in my day, and I've been totally enjoying my new spinning wheel. I recently got the Spinolution Echo. I had the Polywog before. Maybe I'll do another video talking more about the Echo, but I am loving it. I'm not a dealer or anything, so this isn't like a plug for me financially. It's just, I really love how intuitive their spinning wheels are. I love how easy they are to pick up, like especially as a beginner. I didn't have anyone in person to show me a wheel because I live pretty far away from like any dealer, in-person dealer, so I was able to just order it online and literally just start spinning. I mean, granted, I had already used the drop spindle for like 3 years, so I had like the drafting concepts down, and it was just so fast to pick up the treadling and the spinning at the same time that it's honestly amazing. And I can tell I'm going to be able to spin so much more volume with this wheel than I was able to spin with my Polywog. So I had the Spinolution Polywog, and I upgraded to the Echo, and I feel like it was a really smart investment, especially because I have so much wool to process, and I'm going to be talking about that soon, like right now. So, okay, so we have right now, I think, 16 sheep on our farm. So it's a lot of fleece, and we grow our sheep for meat and for fiber. So we have a lot of fleeces. I have so many right now that need to be skirted. I haven't gotten around to it. It's pretty bad. I need to get around to it. But I have so much wool to play with. I feel so blessed. So let's just talk about that quickly. I went digging through my fleeces thinking, okay, I'm going to start skirting these and posting them on my Etsy shop. And then I got to the first fleece and I was like, I just want to process this entire fleece for myself. I know that's a little greedy, but I really just want, I knit you can see in a previous video, I've knit one other garment from my hand spun wool from our own sheep. And it's like a cream off-white sweater. It's called the Liebling sweater. I'll try and insert a pic here if I can find one. The problem with that sweater, I absolutely love it. The problem is the color. It's a cream color, and I am not the best at like not spilling my coffee on me. a super active lifestyle with the farm and gardening and the kids that I want just a woolly sweater that's also a dark color. So, voila! I have, don't mind me, I'm be rattling around some bags in this episode. And I pulled this fleece out of the garbage bag that it had been stored in. And it is so nice. One of the reasons I decided, you know what, I think I'll keep this one for myself is because he was not coated the entire year, and there is a decent amount of hay in here, but it's not crazy. Like, I've just been combing it out, and it's been just falling out. I did wash this already. I'll try to get up close and see if you can see, like, how absolutely beautiful his fleece is. So this is a weather that we still have, but he is earmarked for the freezer. And, like, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up. Maybe if I block the light. How absolutely springy and just, like, amazingly crimpy his fleece is. But it's not, like, so, like, it's so easy to spin. And it's so fast and it's so fun. And it's the perfect handle. Like, I washed it, but it's not dry. It's not greasy. It's just perfect. So need I gush on and on more? Probably not, but my plan is to literally process this whole fleece, which I hope I don't get burnt out on it. I hope I can finish this because even though it will make more than enough yarn for the sweater I want to make with it, I can use this for another project, like so many projects. The kids need hats, they need mittens. I dream about making my husband a sweater or a vest, and it would be really nice. Like a black one would be really nice. So I have just a lot of bags of these nests, and I've been combing. Lately I have been doing a lot of combing. These are the combs I have. Well, I have a couple sets of combs, but these are the ones I've been loving lately. These are Louette's combs, ultra fine mini combs, and the reason I love these is because they are so comfortable to hold and to use for extended periods of time because they're so light, they're so portable. I do bring them with me, and I will comb in the car or whatever. This tine is a little bent, but I love these combs. I highly recommend these combs if you can find them. They are really good, really nice combs. Let's see, I have stuff everywhere. So that is on my to-do list, and I don't know if I'll do another Elwood sweater with that wool. I've been looking at patterns. I want a button-down cardigan, something that's not quite as loose and open as this, so something that comes up a little higher and is like, I kind of want it like a jack of all trades. So I don't want it super dressy, but I don't want it super boxy. Like, I love this sweater because it's long and oversized. I don't like short oversized sweaters. Do not look good on me, so I probably will do it a little more fitted than this one is, but not a crazy tight fit. Like, it has to be comfortable. I have to be able to work in it. I have to be able to move in it. So we'll see what pattern I come up with. So I have one other spinning project going on, and it is, I've already named the project. It's going to be Anne with an E-T. Anne with an E. Whoever knows the book Anne of Green Gables knows what I mean when I say Anne with an E. And I got this top from Inglenook Fibers. And you can kind of see the info on the card there. It's comb top, it's merino, silk, and baby alpaca, and it's beautiful. I love the subtle color of it. I will insert a little clip right here of me spinning this. So I have the ratio set pretty high for this spin, just because I wanted to spin a pretty fine yarn, and I wanted to make sure there was enough twist in it. And it's pretty easy to spin. There was some places where it kind of wanted to hold together, and the drafting was a tiny bit more difficult. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I am holding on with my right hand just kind of to control the twist a little bit, just to keep it from getting too thick in some spots, and then occasionally I'll stop and check against my little sample I have. And then I'm drafting a backwards draft with my left hand. And it's going pretty smooth. I do tend to make it a little thicker, just like when I go on autopilot, than what I'm trying for. So I do have to kind of take my time with this. I'm treadling pretty slow, as you can see. But it's working really well so far. And once in a while, it is breaking off. I did find that I did get a lot smoother, more consistent yarn when I broke it down a lot more. I was trying to spin off of like a thicker piece of top, and I just kept getting too thick of a yarn. So it did help to break it down a lot, and it seemed to draft a lot easier too. I don't know if it was just because I have different types of fibers in this mix. I believe it's wool, alpaca, and silk. So I think some of the staple lengths are, maybe not quite the same, so which would explain why the drafting is a little difficult in some spots. But for the most part, I felt like it was a super relaxing spin. I don't feel like this would be the best fiber for a beginning spinner though, just because it was a little bit harder to control the thickness of the yarn, and I had to go pretty slow. But as far as like the quality of the fiber, it was amazing, and I would buy this fiber again. I really enjoyed spinning it, and I think the finished product is going to be really amazing. I can't wait to see how it comes out once it's made into yarn. The one thing though that I figured out, I purchased 2 4-ounce bags of that off of their website, and I don't know for sure if that's going to be enough yarn to make me a t-shirt. So I went stash diving into my fleece bags again, and I found this. It's skirting, so it has a lot of hay in it, but it's a fleece from our sheep Bess. And Bess was the sheep that lived here for 3 years. She was one of my favorites. And sadly, we did end up eating her because she would never have a lamb. And we tried 2 years and she wouldn't lamb. So we are a working farm. Like, we can't really afford to keep animals on just because of attachment. Like, I do not make animal decisions based on my emotions. I make them purely based on frugality and purely based on reason, I guess, because I have too many mouths to feed. We have too many mouths to feed of our own children, so we have to focus on providing them food. And then if the animal has an amazing fleece too, they get to stay. If they don't, we eat them, and we're thankful for that. So she is one of those that I wish she could have lambed. I wish she would have lambed, and she didn't. But now I'm going to make something with her. And I have started combing this top. It's a really, really light, creamy gray color. Like, it's one of those colors. Is it cream or is it gray? And when it's combed, I mean, it's beautiful fiber. That is going to be amazing. So my idea is to make a bunch of these nests and ply it with this that I already showed you to make it'll be a marled yarn, but I think it'll be very subtle and beautiful and feminine and all the things that I'm looking for in a t-shirt. That's going to be mainly a layering piece, but also something that I can wear in the summer. So I'm excited about that. I don't know yet what pattern I'm going to use. I want something that's fitted enough that I can wear underneath something, but not like tight. And I also want it to be just pretty plain. So I have to find a pattern for that. And what else do I want to talk about? Oh, I have one other spin that I was going to show you guys. Oh, this half of this came from this fleece buttons, and then half of this came from an old top I had laying around. Let's see if it'll focus. Maybe if I block the light. There we go. An old top I had laying around. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I think I'll probably ply it. It's not a ton of yarn, but I think I'll probably ply it and either make myself a hat or a headband or a gift knit with it. I'm not sure. We'll just see how it comes out when it gets off these spindles. So that's another project I have to do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of knitting and spinning. Hopefully next time I will talk more about my Echo, and maybe I'll have finished prepping a lot of this wool. We'll see what happens. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a lovely, beautiful day. I hope you're finding time to make yourself some pretty garments or some nice woolly items, because fall is coming and I don't know a knitter who doesn't love fall. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you later. I just want to see you smile, see those gritted teeth. I just need to take a while. I just need to think. Here in the temple, found home.